You're standing at the front door. Your keys are already in your hand. Your shoes are on. Your bag is over your shoulder. There's only one thing left to do. Walk out the door. Behind you, your dog quietly lifts their head. They don't bark. They don't whine. They don't run over to stop you. They simply watch your every movement. You smile. You gently stroke their head. Be good. I'll be back soon. Then, the door closes. To you, it's just another ordinary morning. But to your dog, everything has just changed. Not because the house is different. Their toys are still where they left them. Their bed is exactly the same. Their water bowl is still full. Your scent still lingers in every room. And yet, within seconds of hearing that door shut, your dog's brain begins asking a question you may have never even considered. Am I still safe? That question isn't caused by stubbornness. It isn't because your dog is too attached, and it certainly doesn't mean you've spoiled them. It's simply how the canine brain has evolved over thousands of years. The heartbreaking part is that many loving owners accidentally send signals that make their dogs feel anxious during the final moments before leaving home. Not because they don't love their dogs, but because no one ever taught them how to say goodbye in a way a dog's brain truly understands. The good news is, you don't need an extra hour every morning. You don't need expensive gadgets. You don't need weeks of professional training. In less than 60 seconds before walking out the door, you can dramatically change how your dog experiences being home alone. And the best part is, these aren't internet myths or random life hacks. They're based on what scientists have discovered about canine psychology, attachment, and the way a dog's nervous system responds to separation. In this video, you'll learn 6 simple habits that can make every goodbye calmer, easier, and far less stressful for your dog. Some take only 10 seconds. Others require almost no effort at all. But together, they teach your dog's brain one powerful message. My person always comes back. Make sure you stay until the end, because the final habit is the one many dog owners unknowingly get wrong every single day. And for some dogs, that one mistake can be the hidden reason behind constant barking, pacing, scratching at the door, or spending hours unable to truly relax after their owner leaves. But before we get to the solutions, we first need to understand what actually happens inside your dog's brain during those final 30 seconds before you walk out the door. Most people assume dogs think the way humans do, that they see you picking up your keys and simply understand you're going to work. But that's not how their brain works. Your dog isn't thinking about your schedule. They aren't calculating how long you'll be gone. The oldest part of their nervous system is focused on answering one simple question. Am I safe? Everything becomes part of that answer. The sound of your footsteps, the tone of your voice, the expression on your face, the speed of your movements, even the stress you're carrying without realizing it. If you're rushing around looking for your phone, checking the clock over and over, running from room to room, then suddenly hugging your dog a little longer because you feel guilty about leaving, your dog doesn't understand that you're running late. What they understand is something much simpler. Something is different. And when the door finally closes, their body is often left carrying that feeling of uncertainty. That's why so many behaviors like barking, chewing furniture, pacing through the house, or lying beside the front door don't begin because dogs are being naughty. They begin because their nervous system never truly settled down before you left. Here's the encouraging part. If just 30 seconds can accidentally make your dog feel anxious, those same 30 seconds can also teach them to feel safe. And that's exactly where we're going to begin. Part 1. The quiet ritual that tells your dog everything is okay. Most people do one of two things before leaving home. They either rush right past their dog without making eye contact, or they kneel down, hug them tightly, and spend several emotional moments saying goodbye. Be a good boy. I'll miss you. Don't be sad. I'll be home soon. Every one of those words comes from love. But here's the surprising part. Your dog isn't listening to the words nearly as much as they're listening to you. Dogs don't interpret language the way humans do. What they read is your emotional state, your breathing, your posture, the tension in your body, the rhythm of your voice. When you suddenly become more emotional than usual, when your voice gets higher, when you hug them longer than you normally would, or when you hesitate at the door, your dog's brain notices something has changed. They don't know you're leaving for work. They don't know you'll only be gone for a few hours. They simply notice that the person they trust most is acting differently. And if their trusted leader suddenly seems anxious, Maybe there's something to worry about. This happens because dogs are incredibly skilled at reading human emotions. Researchers have found that dogs constantly look to their owners for emotional information. Psychologists call this social referencing. In simple terms, your dog often decides how to feel by watching how you feel first. If you appear calm, their nervous system is more likely to stay calm. If you appear stressed, their body begins preparing for something stressful too. Think of yourself as your dog's emotional compass. When you're steady, they can find their direction. When you're overwhelmed, they may feel lost before you've even stepped outside. So what should you do instead? About 1 or 2 minutes before leaving, slow everything down. Walk over to your dog without rushing. Don't repeatedly call their name. Don't excite them. Don't immediately start petting them all over. Instead, simply stand or sit beside them. Relax your shoulders. Take one slow breath. Then gently meet their eyes for a few seconds. Not a hard stare. Not a challenge. Just the same soft eye contact you'd share with someone you completely trust. Then calmly look away first. It may seem like an incredibly small gesture, but to your dog, it communicates something powerful. Nothing unusual is happening. Everything is still okay. You don't need to worry. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give your dog isn't more affection. It's more confidence, because confidence is contagious. When you carry it, your dog begins to carry it too. But emotional calm is only half of the story. Even when your dog's mind starts to relax, their body may still be holding on to tension. And that's exactly what we'll take care of next. Part 2. A calm body creates a calm mind. Think about the last time you had an incredibly stressful day. Maybe you were rushing from one meeting to another. Maybe you had an argument. Or maybe you were simply overwhelmed by everything on your schedule. Eventually, the stressful moment ended. You knew you were safe. But your body didn't immediately believe it. Your shoulders stayed tight. Your breathing remained shallow. Your muscles held onto tension long after your mind had moved on. Your dog experiences stress in much the same way. Not all anxiety lives in the mind. A surprising amount of it stays trapped inside the body, especially across the chest, the shoulders, and even between the toes. These are areas where muscles naturally tighten whenever the nervous system shifts into a state of alertness. Here's something many owners don't realize. Right before leaving, most people give their dog a few quick pats on the head, smile, then walk away. It's a loving gesture, but it isn't always the most effective way to help your dog's body truly relax. Studies on canine touch and behavior suggest that dogs respond far more positively to slow, gentle, predictable contact than to quick, excited petting. When calm pressure is applied to certain areas of the body, the nervous system begins receiving an entirely different message. The danger has passed. You can let go now. As the muscles slowly soften, the brain starts lowering its level of alertness. It's one of the reasons therapeutic touch is often used by behavior specialists to help anxious dogs feel more secure. The good news is, you can do something very similar in less than 30 seconds. Before you leave, place one hand gently across your dog's chest, just above the front legs. If your dog enjoys having their paws handled, you can also slowly massage the spaces between their front toes using small, gentle circles. There's no need to press firmly, no need to rush, and no need to turn it into playtime. Simply let your hand move slowly, smoothly, almost like you're breathing. Imagine your hand quietly telling your dog, "You're safe. Nothing bad is happening. You can relax now." As you do this, pay attention to their body language. You may notice them taking a deeper breath, blinking more slowly, letting their ears relax, or gently lowering their head. These are all subtle signs that their nervous system is beginning to shift away from vigilance and toward rest. Without saying a single word, you've already accomplished two important things. First, your calm emotional energy reassures your dog. Then, your gentle touch helps release the physical tension their body has been holding onto. Together, those two signals create something every dog longs for, a feeling of safety. But even after you've calmed both the mind and the body, one common mistake during the final few seconds before leaving can erase almost everything you've just accomplished. And unfortunately, it's a mistake that millions of loving dog owners make every single day. Part 3. The longer the goodbye, the bigger the worry. You've helped your dog feel emotionally calmer. You've helped their body begin to relax. Now comes the moment that matters most. The final few seconds before you walk out the door. Ironically, This is also the moment when many loving owners accidentally undo everything they've just accomplished. Think about your own routine. You pick up your keys, then you suddenly kneel down one more time. You wrap your arms around your dog. You kiss their head. You stroke them over and over again. Then you say things like, "I'll miss you. Be a good boy. Don't be sad. I'll be back soon." Every word is filled with love. But your dog isn't hearing a beautiful goodbye. They're reading a dramatic change in your behavior. Your voice becomes softer. Your movements become slower. Your attention suddenly becomes much more intense than it was just a minute ago. To your dog's brain, all of those changes point to one conclusion. Something important is about to happen. Remember, dogs don't understand the concept of work. They don't know what a meeting is. They don't know you'll be gone for 3 hours instead of 10. What they do understand is patterns. And when your behavior suddenly changes, their brain immediately starts searching for a reason. If their trusted person is acting differently, maybe the environment isn't safe anymore. That's why so many dogs begin barking the moment the front door closes. Not because they're trying to stop you from leaving, not because they're being stubborn, but because their nervous system has been pushed into a state of heightened alertness, and then the one person who makes them feel secure suddenly disappears. Behavior specialists have found that dogs adapt much more easily when departures become predictable and emotionally neutral. In other words, the goal isn't to make your goodbye more emotional, it's to make it more ordinary. Instead of turning every departure into a special event, let it become just another part of the day. If you want to say something before leaving, choose one short phrase. Use the exact same words every time. Something as simple as, "See you later. Stay here. I'll be back." Say it slowly. Say it calmly. Say it with the same relaxed tone you would use during any normal conversation. Then leave. Don't hesitate at the door. Don't keep looking back. Don't reopen the door because you suddenly feel guilty. And don't stand outside listening to see whether your dog starts barking. Every time you return after already saying goodbye, you blur the ending. Your dog no longer knows when the separation has truly begun. Clarity creates confidence. Consistency creates security. When your departure looks the same today, the same tomorrow, and the same next week, your dog's brain slowly stops treating it like an emergency. Instead, it begins recognizing a familiar pattern. My person leaves, and my person always comes back. That simple expectation becomes one of the strongest foundations of emotional security. But there is one signal your dog depends on even more than your voice. One invisible reminder that can make them feel as if you're still close, even hours after you've already left home. Part 4. The invisible presence your dog keeps looking for. Have you ever noticed something curious after you leave the house? Your dog doesn't always choose the expensive bed you bought for them. They don't always stretch out in the brightest spot by the window. Instead, they curl up on the sweatshirt you wore yesterday, the blanket you've been using all week, or the exact spot on the couch where you were sitting just a few minutes ago. At first, it seems like nothing more than a cute little habit. But there's something much deeper happening. Humans experience the world mainly through sight. Dogs experience it through scent. Their sense of smell is extraordinary. Scientists estimate that a dog's nose contains hundreds of millions of scent receptors, far more than ours. To them, every scent tells a story. Every smell carries information. And no scent in the world is more comforting than yours. Not your perfume, not your laundry detergent, not your shampoo, your natural scent, the unique scent that belongs only to you. To your dog, that scent means something incredibly powerful. You're part of this place. You still belong here, and you'll return. Researchers studying canine behavior have found that many dogs show lower signs of stress when they're near an item carrying their owner's familiar scent. They spend less time pacing. They bark less frequently. They settle down more easily. And they're more likely to rest instead of anxiously waiting by the front door. That's because your scent doesn't simply remind your dog of you. It reassures their nervous system that their world is still familiar. And familiarity creates safety. Fortunately, helping your dog benefit from this couldn't be simpler. Before leaving home, place a recently worn t-shirt, sweatshirt, or light jacket near your dog's favorite resting spot. It doesn't need to be freshly washed. In fact, it's better if it isn't. The goal isn't cleanliness. The goal is familiarity. Don't spray extra perfume on it. Don't try to make it smell stronger. Your dog isn't looking for fragrance. They're looking for you. Think of that piece of clothing as leaving behind a quiet promise, a silent reminder that says, even though you can't see me, a part of me is still here with you. Many dogs will naturally walk over to it, take a slow, deep breath, circle once or twice, then gently curl up beside it. They're not imagining that you're hiding somewhere in the house. Their brain has simply received a reassuring signal. Everything still smells the way it should. My person is still part of my world. Sometimes, the smallest comforts have the greatest effect. But even when your dog is surrounded by your familiar scent, there's one more invisible factor that can either help them relax or quietly keep their nervous system on high alert for hours. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with what they smell. It has everything to do with what they hear. Part 5. The sounds that can keep your dog on edge. By now, you've already created a much calmer goodbye. You leave without rushing. You keep your emotions steady. You've left behind your familiar scent. Everything seems perfect. Then, just before walking out the door, you turn on the television, or maybe you play a random playlist so the house won't feel so quiet. It sounds like a thoughtful idea. After all, many people believe that if the house is filled with noise, their dog won't feel so alone. But here's what most owners never realize. It's not whether your dog hears sound. It's what kind of sound they're hearing. Imagine you're trying to fall asleep. Suddenly, a loud commercial blasts through the room. A minute later, there's shouting from an action movie. Then a car horn. Then applause. Then complete silence. A few seconds later, another explosion of noise. Your body never has a chance to fully relax. Your brain keeps asking, what was that? Your dog experiences something very similar. In fact, their hearing is far more sensitive than ours. Many everyday sounds that barely catch our attention can immediately trigger your dog's instinct to investigate. A door slamming outside. A motorcycle passing by. Voices from the television. A sudden burst of music. Each unexpected sound briefly activates their alert system. Their ears lift. Their head turns. Their breathing changes. For a moment, their nervous system prepares to respond. Then, nothing happens. A few minutes later, it happens again and again. Over time, your dog never fully settles into a state of deep relaxation. Instead, they remain caught in a cycle of constantly checking whether something important is about to happen. Researchers studying canine behavior have found that dogs generally relax far more easily when they're exposed to gentle, predictable background sounds instead of constantly changing audio. Soft, classical music, steady rainfall, ocean waves, or quiet nature sounds have all been associated with calmer behavior and longer periods of rest in many dogs. Why? Because predictable sounds give the brain permission to stop scanning for danger. There are no sudden surprises, no dramatic changes, no reason to stay on guard. If you choose to leave music playing while you're away, don't wait until the last second. Turn it on several minutes before you leave. Let your dog hear it while you're still calmly moving around the house. That way, the sound becomes part of a peaceful routine, not a signal that you're about to disappear. Keep the volume low. Choose something continuous. Avoid playlists filled with advertisements, loud introductions, or sudden shifts in volume. The quieter and more predictable the environment feels, the easier it becomes for your dog's nervous system to finally rest. By now, you've built something far more powerful than a simple goodbye routine. You've created a series of small signals that all tell the same story. Everything is normal. Everything is safe. Your person will come home. And when those signals are repeated day after day, they begin to change something much deeper than behavior. They begin to change your dog's expectations. Because in the end, the greatest gift you can give your dog isn't simply helping them stay calm today. It's teaching them to feel secure every time you walk out that door. And that's exactly what the final habit is all about. Part 6. The greatest gift you leave behind isn't time, it's certainty. By now, you may have noticed something. None of the habits we've talked about are complicated. They don't require expensive equipment. They don't take hours to practice. And they certainly don't ask you to become a professional dog trainer. Because helping your dog feel safe isn't about doing one extraordinary thing. It's about doing a few ordinary things, consistently. Every morning, you approach them calmly. You let them read confidence instead of anxiety. You help their body relax. You keep your goodbyes simple. You leave behind your familiar scent. You create a peaceful environment before you walk out the door. Each habit takes only a few moments. On its own, it may not seem life-changing, but together, they tell the same story. Every single day. The first morning, your dog may still follow you to the door. They may still watch the window after you leave. That's perfectly normal. Trust isn't built in a day. It's built through repetition. Every calm departure becomes another piece of evidence stored inside your dog's brain. My person left, and they came back. The next day, the same thing happens, then the next, and the next. Little by little, those memories begin to outweigh the fear. Eventually, your dog stops preparing for a painful separation. Instead, they begin preparing for something much different: rest. Because they no longer expect the worst. They expect your return. This is exactly what behavior scientists describe as secure attachment. A securely attached dog doesn't love you less. They don't become distant. They don't stop getting excited when you come home. In fact, their joy may become even more genuine, because it no longer comes from relief. It comes from confidence. They trust that goodbyes are temporary. They trust that your absence isn't abandonment. And that's one of the healthiest emotional foundations a dog can have. The goal has never been to make your dog forget about you, or distract them with treats, or keep them busy with toys until you return. The goal is something much deeper. To teach their nervous system that you're leaving doesn't mean they've lost you. That lesson changes everything. It changes how they experience every morning, every afternoon, every unexpected errand, every quiet hour spent alone. One day, you'll pick up your keys, and instead of following you anxiously from room to room, your dog may simply lift their head, look at you for a moment, give a slow blink, circle their favorite blanket, and lie back down. Not because they don't care that you're leaving, but because they already know something their heart has learned through hundreds of small promises. You always come back. And perhaps that's the most beautiful kind of trust any dog can ever give. Not blind faith, not dependence, but quiet confidence. The confidence that no matter how many times the front door closes, love never leaves with it. Because every calm goodbye you've practiced, every reassuring touch, every familiar scent, every peaceful morning, has been teaching your dog one simple truth. The person I love always keeps their promise. And that's a gift that lasts far longer than the few hours you're ever apart. The next time you reach for your keys, pause for just 30 seconds, turn around, and really look at your dog, not just as a pet, but as someone who trusts you more than anyone else in the world. Because every time you walk out that front door, your dog isn't asking for a longer goodbye. They aren't asking for expensive toys, and they aren't asking you to stay home forever. They're asking for something much simpler, a reason to believe they'll be okay until you return. That's why the small moments matter so much. Your calm voice, your steady movements, your gentle touch, your familiar scent, the peaceful routine you repeat day after day. To you, they may seem ordinary. To your dog, they're powerful promises. Promises that say, you're safe. Everything is okay. And I'll always come back. Sometimes, the greatest act of love isn't making your dog happier while you're together. It's helping them feel peaceful while you're apart. Because one day, when you quietly close that front door, instead of standing there in fear, your dog may simply sigh, lay their head down, and drift peacefully to sleep. Not because they stopped loving you, but because they finally learned something every dog longs to believe. The person I love always comes home. If this video helped you understand your dog a little better, we'd love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments. What's your dog's name? And which of today's 6 habits are you going to try first? Your story might encourage another dog owner who's going through the very same struggle. If you enjoy learning the science behind your dog's behavior and the incredible bond you share together, be sure to subscribe and join us for future videos. Until next time, give your dog one extra gentle pat today. It may only take a second, but to them, it could mean the whole world.